The moment you decide to accept reality, you open the door to a world of endless possibilities. Right now, in this very instant, you have the power to change your life. It's not about what's happening around you, it's about what's happening inside you. Your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, see, these are the building blocks of your reality. Think about it. How often do we resist what is? How many times do we fight against the current of life, wishing things were different? But here's the truth. Acceptance isn't giving up. It's not surrendering. It's the first step towards real change. When you accept reality, you stop wasting energy on what you can't control. You start focusing on what you can change. And that's where the magic happens. That's where you begin to create a new future. Now, I want you to take a moment. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Take a deep breath. Feel the air filling your lungs. As you breathe out, let go of all the tension in your body. Let go of all the resistance. Just for this moment, allow yourself to be exactly where you are. This is reality. This is now. And it's perfect because it's the only moment we have. The past is gone. The future isn't here yet. All we have is now, and this now, we have the power to. You see, your brain doesn't know the difference between what's happening in your environment and what's happening in your mind. When you truly accept reality, you create a harmony between your inner world and your outer world. And that's when you start to see miracles. But let's talk about what acceptance really means. It's not about liking everything that happens. It's not about being happy with difficult situations. It's about acknowledging what is without judgment. It's about saying, this is how things are right now, and that's okay. When you do this, you free up so much mental and emotional energy, you stop fighting against the tide. Instead, you learn to swim with it. You learn to use the current to take you where you want to go. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but what if my reality is painful? What if it's not what I want? I hear you. I understand. But here's the thing, is inevitable. But suffering is optional. When we resist reality, we create suffering. When we accept it, we open the door to healing. Think about a time when you were stuck in traffic. You had somewhere important to be, and you were getting more and more stressed by the minute. Did that stress make the traffic move any faster? Of course not. All it did was make you miserable. But what if, instead of resisting, you accepted the situation? What if you used that time to listen to music or to think about your goals or to practice gratitude? Suddenly, that wasted time becomes an opportunity. That's the power of accepting reality. It turns obstacles into opportunities. It turns problems into possibilities. It turns victims into creators. Accepting reality doesn't mean you have to like it. It doesn't mean you can't work to change things. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When you accept reality, you see things as they truly are. And when you see things clearly, you can take effective action to change them. Think about it like this. If you want to climb a mountain, you need to know where you're starting from. You need to know the terrain, the weather conditions, your own fitness level. If you deny reality, if you pretend the mountain is smaller than it is, or that you're fitter than you are, you're setting yourself up for failure. But when you accept reality, you can plan effectively. You can train appropriately. You can succeed. Now, I want you to think about an area of your life where you've been resisting reality. Maybe it's a relationship that's not working. Maybe it's a job you don't like. Maybe it's a health issue you've been ignoring. Whatever it is, I want you to take a moment to accept it, not to like it, not to approve of it, but simply to acknowledge it. Feel the relief that comes with that acceptance. Feel the energy that's freed up when you stop fighting against what is. That energy is now available for creating change. That energy is now available for building the life you want. You see, when you accept reality, you step into your power, you stop being a victim of circumstances, and start being the author of your life. You recognize that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can always control your response. And that's where true freedom lies. It's not in having everything go your way. It's in knowing that no matter what happens, you have the power to choose your response. You have the power to learn, to grow, to evolve. Now, let's talk about how you can start practicing acceptance in your daily life. It starts with awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts and feelings. Notice when you're resisting reality. Notice when you're wishing things were different. When you catch yourself in resistance, take a deep breath. Remind yourself that this moment is as it is. Say to yourself, this is how things are right now, and that's okay. Feel the shift that happens in your body when you do this. Next, ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? How can I use this to grow? Every challenge is an opportunity for growth. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. When you approach life with this mindset, everything changes. Remember, your thoughts create your reality. When you accept what is, you create space for what could be. You open yourself up to new possibilities. You allow miracles to happen. Now, I know change can be scary. I know it can be tempting to stay in our comfort zones, even when those zones aren't really comfortable anymore. But here's the truth. The greatest risk in life is not taking any risks at all. The greatest danger is not accepting reality, but in denying it. When you accept reality, you give yourself permission to dream big. You give yourself permission to take bold action. You give yourself permission to create the life you truly want. Think about the greatest achievers in history. They didn't succeed by denying reality. They succeeded by accepting it, understanding it, and then working to change it. They saw things as they were, not as they wished them to be. And that clear vision allowed them to create extraordinary change. You have that same power within you. You have the ability to accept reality and then to shape it. You have the ability to create your own future, but it all starts with acceptance. Now, I want you to think about your future self. The version of you that has fully accepted reality. The version of you that's no longer wasting energy on resistance. The version of you that's fully aligned with your true potential. Can you feel the power of that future self? That future self is not some distant dream. That future self is available to you right now in this moment. All you have to do is choose to accept reality, choose to see things as they are, choose to step into your power. Remember, every moment is a new beginning. Every breath is a fresh start. You don't have to wait for some perfect future moment to begin. You can start right now in this very instant. Take a deep breath. Feel the air filling your lungs. As you breathe out, let go of all resistance. Let go of all denial. Let go of all the should haves and could haves. Just for this moment, allow yourself to be exactly where you are. This is your reality. This is your starting point. And from here, anything is possible. From here, you can create miracles. From here, you can become the person you've always dreamed of being. But it all starts with acceptance. It all starts with allowing yourself to see things as they are. It all starts with embracing reality, not fighting against it. Now, I know this isn't always easy. I know there will be times when acceptance feels impossible. There will be times when you want to resist, when you want to fight against what is. And that's okay. That's part of being human. The key is to notice when you're in resistance, to catch yourself in those moments, and then gently and compassionately to bring yourself back to acceptance. It's not about being perfect. It's about practice. It's about making acceptance a habit. Think of it like training a muscle. The more you practice acceptance, the stronger that muscle becomes. The more you choose to see things as they are, the easier it becomes. And as that muscle grows stronger, you'll find yourself naturally moving towards acceptance in all areas of your life. This doesn't mean you'll never face challenges. It doesn't mean life will always be easy, but it does mean you'll have the tools to handle whatever comes your way. It means you'll be able to face life's ups and downs with grace and resilience. Imagine waking up each morning fully accepting of yourself and your life. Imagine the peace that would bring. Imagine the energy you'd have, the clarity you'd experience. That's the power of acceptance. That's the gift you give yourself when you allow yourself to accept reality. Now, let's talk about how this acceptance can transform your relationships. When you accept yourself, you create space for others to be themselves. When you stop resisting your own reality, you stop trying to change others. And paradoxically, that's when real change becomes possible. Think about a relationship in your life that's been challenging. Maybe it's with a family member, a friend, or a colleague. Now, imagine approaching that relationship with full acceptance, not trying to change the other person, not wishing they were different, but simply accepting them as they are. Can you feel the shift that would create? Can you sense the possibility for healing, for growth, for deeper connection? That's the power of acceptance in relationships. It creates space for love, for understanding, for true intimacy. The same principle applies to your relationship with the world around you. When you accept the world as it is, you stop being at war with life. You start to see the beauty in everything, even in the challenges. You start to understand that everything is happening for you, not to you. This doesn't mean you become passive. It doesn't mean you stop working for positive change, but it does mean you approach that work from a place of peace, not from a place of conflict. And that makes all the difference. When you accept reality, you align yourself with the flow of life. You stop swimming against the current and start moving with it. And that's when miracles start to happen. That's when synchronicities appear. That's when life starts to feel magical. Now, I want you to take a moment to imagine your life 6 months from now. If you fully embraced acceptance, how would you feel? How would you approach challenges? How would your relationships be different? How would your work be transformed? Can you feel the peace that comes with that vision? Can you sense the power, the clarity, the joy that's available to you right now? That's what happens when you allow yourself to accept reality. But this isn't just about you. When you accept reality, when you align yourself with what is, you become a force for positive change in the world. You become a beacon of peace in a world of conflict. You become a source of clarity in a world of confusion. Think about the ripple effect this could have. Imagine if everyone in your life started practicing acceptance. Imagine if your community, your country, our world embraced this principle. Can you see how much unnecessary suffering would end? Can you see how much energy would be freed up for creation, for innovation, for love? That's the bigger picture here. That's why this work of acceptance is so important. It's not just about personal growth. It's about creating a better world for all of us. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but what about my dreams? What about my goals? If I accept reality, am I giving up on what I want? And that's a great question. The answer is a resounding no. Accepting reality doesn't mean giving up on your dreams. It means seeing clearly where you are now so you can effectively move towards where you want to be. It means understanding the true nature of your starting point so you can chart the most effective course to your destination. Think of it like this. If you want to travel to a new city, you need to know where you are now. You need to accept your current location. If you deny where you are, if you pretend you're somewhere else, how can you possibly find the right path? The same is true in life. When you accept your current reality, you give yourself the gift of clarity. You see clearly what needs to change. You understand what steps you need to take. And from that place of clarity, you can move forward with power and purpose. So accepting reality isn't about settling. It's not about compromising on your dreams. It's about seeing things as they truly are so you can create the change you want to see. It's about standing firmly in the present moment so you can build a better future. Now, let's talk about how this principle of acceptance applies to your body and your health. How often do we fight against our bodies? How often do we wish we were taller, shorter, thinner, stronger? How often do we ignore signs of illness or fatigue, pushing ourselves beyond our limits? But what if instead we accepted our bodies as they are right now? What if we listened to the wisdom of our bodies instead of fighting against them? What if we approached our health from a place of acceptance and love rather than judgment and struggle? Imagine transformation that could create. Imagine the healing that could occur. When you accept your body as it is, you create the conditions for true health and vitality. You stop punishing yourself with extreme diets or workout regimens and start nourishing yourself in ways that truly serve you. The same principle applies to your mind. How often do we fight against our thoughts and emotions? How often do we try to push away feelings of sadness, anger, or fear? But what if instead we accepted all of our emotions? What if we allowed ourselves to feel everything without judgment? That's where true emotional freedom lies. That's where we find peace, even in the midst of life's storms. When you accept your emotions, you stop being controlled by them. You start to understand them as valuable messengers, guiding you towards growth and healing. Now, I want you to take a moment to check in with yourself. How do you feel right now? Whatever you're feeling, can you accept it? Can you allow it to be there without trying to change it or push it away? This is acceptance in action. This is the practice that can transform your life. Remember, acceptance isn't a one-time event. It's not something you do once and then you're done. It's a moment-by-moment choice. It's a practice that you return to again and again, especially when life gets challenging. The more you practice acceptance, the more natural it becomes. The more you choose to see things as they are, the easier it gets. And as you develop this skill, you'll find yourself naturally moving towards greater peace, greater clarity, and greater joy. Now, let's talk about how this principle of acceptance can transform your work life. How often do we resist our current job situation? How often do we wish things were different, that our boss was different, that our colleagues were different? But what if instead you fully accepted your work situation as it is right now? What if you stopped resisting and started seeing the opportunities for growth and learning? What if you approached your work with a spirit of acceptance and curiosity? Can you feel how that would change things? Can you sense the new possibilities that would open up? When you accept your work situation, you free up energy to perform at your best. You open yourself up to new opportunities. You become the kind of person who creates positive change rather than just complaining about what is. Same principle applies to your finances. How often do we resist our current financial situation? How often do we wish we had more money, a better job, fewer bills? But what if instead you fully accepted your financial reality as it is right now? This doesn't mean you have to like it if you're struggling financially. It doesn't mean you can't work to improve your situation. But it does mean seeing things clearly without denial or wishful thinking. And from that place of clarity, you can take effective action to create the financial future you want. Now, I want you to think about an area of your life where you've been resisting reality. Maybe it's your health, your relationships, your work, or your finances. Whatever it is, I want you to take a moment right now to practice acceptance. Take a deep breath. Say to yourself, this is how things are right now, and that's okay. Feel the shift that happens in your body when you do this. Feel the release of tension, the freeing up of energy. This is the power of acceptance. This is the gift you give yourself when you allow yourself to see things as they are. And from this place of acceptance, anything is possible. From this place of acceptance, you can create miracles. Remember, every great achievement in human history started with someone accepting reality as it was. Every scientific breakthrough, every social change, every personal transformation began with someone seeing things clearly, without denial or illusion. You have that same power within you. You have the ability to accept reality and then to shape it. You have the ability to create your own future. But it all starts with acceptance. It all starts with allowing yourself to see things as they are. So I challenge you, for the next week, practice acceptance in every area of your life. When you wake up in the morning, accept yourself exactly as you are. When you go to work, accept your job situation as it is. When you interact with others, accept them as they are. When you face challenges, accept them as opportunities for growth. Notice what happens when you do this. Notice how your stress levels decrease. Notice how your relationships improve. Notice how you start to see opportunities where before you only saw obstacles. This isn't about passivity. It's not about giving up. It's about aligning yourself with reality so you can take effective action. It's about seeing things clearly so you can create meaningful change. Think about water for a moment. Water doesn't fight against obstacles it doesn't resist. It accepts reality as it is and flows around obstacles. And in doing so over time, it can carve canyons out of solid rock. That's the power of acceptance. That's the power you have within you. Now let's talk about how this principle of acceptance can transform your spiritual life. So often we resist our spiritual journey. We wish we were more enlightened, more peaceful, more connected. But what if instead you accepted your spiritual life exactly as it is right now? What if you accepted your doubts, your questions, your struggles? What if you embraced your spiritual journey as it is, rather than wishing it were different? Can you feel how that would change things? Can you sense the deeper connection that would become possible? When you accept your spiritual life as it is, you open yourself up to profound growth and transformation. You create space for genuine experiences of connection and transcendence. You allow yourself to be exactly where you are on your spiritual path, and in doing so, you allow that path to unfold naturally. The same principle applies to your personal growth journey. How often do we resist where we are in our personal development? How often do we wish we were further along, more evolved, more accomplished? But what if instead you fully accepted yourself as you are right now? What if you embraced your current level of growth and development, seeing it as the perfect foundation for your next steps? What if you approach your personal growth journey with a spirit of acceptance and curiosity rather than judgment and impatience? Can you feel how that would change things? Can you sense the acceleration in your growth that would become possible? When you accept where you are in your personal development, you create the conditions for rapid, sustainable growth. You stop wasting energy on self-judgment and start channeling that energy into real transformation. Now, I want you to take a moment to think about your life purpose, your unique gifts, your passions, your calling in this world. So often we resist our true purpose. We doubt ourselves. We fear we're not good enough, not ready enough, not worthy enough. But what if instead you fully accepted your life purpose as it's revealing itself right now? What if you embraced your unique gifts, exactly as they are in this moment? What if you allowed your purpose to unfold naturally without resistance or fear? Can you feel the power in that? Can you sense the impact you could have in the world if you fully accepted and embraced your purpose? When you accept your life purpose, you align yourself with the deepest currents of your being. You tap into a wellspring of energy, creativity, and passion that can transform not just your life, but the lives of those around you. Remember, accepting your purpose doesn't mean you have it all figured out. It doesn't mean know exactly what you're meant to do or how you're meant to do it. It simply means you're open to the journey. It means you're willing to say yes to life, yes to your gifts, yes to the adventure of becoming who you're meant to be. Now, let's talk about how this principle of acceptance can transform your experience of time. How often do we resist the present moment? How often do we wish we were somewhere else, sometime else? How often do we miss the beauty of now because we're caught up in regrets about the past or worries about the future? But what if instead you fully accepted this moment exactly as it is? What if you embraced the now with all its imperfections and challenges? What if you allowed yourself to be fully present, fully alive right here, right now? Can you feel how that would change your experience of life? Can you sense the richness, the depth, the aliveness that would become available to you when you accept the present moment? You step into the fullness of your life. You stop waiting for some future moment to start living and start living fully now. This doesn't mean you don't plan for the future or learn from the past, but it does mean you stop sacrificing the present moment on the altar of what was or what might be. It means you fully inhabit your life right here, right now. Now, I want you to take a moment to check in with your body. Notice any areas of tension or discomfort. Instead of resisting these sensations, can you accept them? Can you allow them to be there without trying to change them or push them away? As you do this, notice how your relationship with these sensations changes. Notice how, paradoxically, acceptance often leads to release. Notice how, when you stop fighting against what is, you create space for healing and transformation. This is the power of acceptance in action. This is how you can use this principle to transform your relationship with your body, your health, your entire physical experience of life. Now, let's talk about how this principle of acceptance can transform your creative life. How often do we resist our creative impulses? How often do we judge our ideas before we've even given them a chance to develop? How often do we hold back from expressing ourselves because we fear we're not good enough? But what if instead you fully accepted your creative self as it is right now? What if you embraced all your ideas, all your impulses, all your creative urges without judgment? What if you allowed your creativity to flow freely without resistance or fear? Can you feel how that would change things? Can you sense the explosion of creativity that would become possible when you accept your creative self? You open the floodgates of inspiration. You tap into the unlimited wellspring of ideas and expression that exists within you. Remember, accepting your creativity doesn't mean you think everything you create is perfect. It doesn't mean you don't strive to improve or refine your skills. It simply means you accept where you are in your creative journey and you allow yourself to create from that place without judgment or self-censorship. Now, I want you to think about a creative project you've been wanting to start or complete. Maybe it's writing a book, painting a picture, starting a business, or redesigning your home. Whatever it is, I want you to take a moment right now to fully accept where you are with this project. Accept your current level of skill. Accept your ideas, even if they seem imperfect. Accept your fears and doubts. Accept your excitement and passion. Just for this moment, can you allow it all to be exactly as it is? Feel the shift that happens when you do this. Feel the release of creative energy. Feel the surge of inspiration and possibility. This is what happens when you allow yourself to accept your creative reality. Now, let's talk about how this principle of acceptance can transform your experience of change and uncertainty. We live in a world of constant change. Nothing stays the same. And yet, how often do we resist this fundamental truth of existence? How often do we cling to what was or grasp anxiously for what we think should be? But what if instead you fully accepted the reality of change and uncertainty? What if you embraced the fluid, ever-changing nature of life? What if you allowed yourself to flow with the currents of change rather than fighting against them? Can you feel how that would transform your experience of life? Can you sense the freedom, the adaptability, the resilience that would become available to you when you accept change and uncertainty? You align yourself with the true nature of reality. You become like a tree that bends with the wind. Rather than breaking in the storm, This doesn't mean you don't plan or prepare for the future, but it does mean you hold those plans lightly, remaining flexible and open to the unexpected twists and turns of life. It means you develop the ability to dance with uncertainty, to find opportunity and change, to thrive in the midst of the unknown. Now, I want you to think about an area of your life where you're facing uncertainty or change. Maybe it's in your career, your relationships, your health, or your personal growth. Whatever it is, I want you to take a moment right now to practice accepting this uncertainty. Take a deep breath. Say to yourself, the future is uncertain, and that's okay. Feel the shift that happens in your body when you do this. Feel the release of anxiety, the opening up to possibility. This is the power of accepting uncertainty. This is the gift you give yourself when you allow life to be as fluid and unpredictable as it truly is. And from this place of acceptance, you can navigate change with grace and creativity. You can turn uncertainty into opportunity. Remember, every great adventure in human history started with someone stepping into the unknown. Every breakthrough, every discovery, every transformation began with someone embracing uncertainty. You have that same capacity within you. You have the ability to accept uncertainty and to use it as a catalyst for growth and creation. Now, as we near the end of our time together, I want to remind you of the incredible power you hold within you, the power to accept reality as it is, and from that acceptance, to create profound change, the power to align yourself with the true nature of existence, and in doing so, to tap into the limitless potential of life itself. This power is not something you need to acquire or develop. It's already within you. It's your birthright as a conscious living being. All you need to do is allow it to express itself through you. All you need to do is say yes to what is, and then from that place of acceptance, to say yes to what could be. So I challenge you that starting right now, in this very moment, allow yourself to accept reality. Allow yourself to see things as they truly are, without resistance, without denial, without wishful thinking. Feel the freedom that comes with this acceptance. Feel the energy that's liberated when you stop fighting against what is. And then, from this place of acceptance, allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to envision the life you truly want to create. Allow yourself to tap into your deepest passions, your highest aspirations, your grandest visions for yourself and for the world. Because when you combine acceptance of what is with vision for what could be, you become unstoppable. You become a force of nature, capable of creating miracles in your life and in the world around you. Deborah, this isn't about perfection. It's not about getting it right all the time. It's about practice. It's about coming back to acceptance again and again, especially when it's challenging. It's about making this shift from resistance to acceptance a fundamental part of how you approach life. As you do this, you'll find yourself naturally moving towards greater peace, greater joy, greater fulfillment. You'll find yourself becoming more resilient, more creative, more alive. You'll find yourself stepping into the fullness of who you truly are and what you're capable of. So go forth from this moment with a new commitment to accepting reality. Go forth with a new understanding of the power you hold within you. Go forth ready to create, to grow, to transform, to live fully and completely. Because when you allow yourself to accept reality, you allow yourself to live in harmony with the deepest truths of existence. You allow yourself to tap into the infinite potential of life itself. You allow yourself to become who you're truly meant to be. And in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but you become a beacon of transformation for the world around you. You become a living example of what's possible when we align ourselves with reality, when we say yes to life in all its complexity and beauty. So let this be your mantra, your guiding principle, your North Star. I allow myself to accept reality. Say it to yourself in moments of challenge. Say it to yourself in moments of triumph. Say it to yourself as you wake up each morning and as you go to sleep each night. And watch as your life transforms. Watch as new possibilities open up. Watch as you step into the fullness of your power, your purpose, your potential. Because when you allow yourself to accept reality, you allow yourself to create miracles. You allow yourself to live a life beyond your wildest dreams. You allow yourself to become the person you've always known deep down you could be. So go forth and accept. Go forth and create. Go forth and live fully and completely in the beautiful reality of this present moment. Your journey of acceptance and transformation begins now, and it's going to be the adventure of a lifetime.